In fact, I was interviewed on Bloomberg just a week ago, and the interviewer was saying to me, "Do you think that that investors now have finally learned always that they need to be buying the dips?" And I thought, well, there's another sign. This next
Wow.
12 months is going to be absolutely fascinating.
I was like, Are you serious? What?" But
All the ingredients are there, the euphoria in the markets as well. I think we're in a bubble in trading. Generally, I think trading is in a bubble.
but let me say, I do not think it's a good idea to use timing cycles on its own. You really have to combine it with price action as well. And I think this is something a lot of people get wrong. I was in a coffee shop recently, about a month ago.
Actually, you're in a coffee shop regularly
Yeah.
because just so people know, Alessio phones me and he's always in a coffee shop
Yeah.
somewhere in London.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the afternoons, I get
Yeah.
really sleepy and exhausted, and I need some coffee,
Yeah.
freshly brewed coffee. And basically, I went to a local coffee shop, and again, the waitresses, sorry, the baristas, I think that's what they call them, not waitresses, but the baristas are wonderful. Nothing bad about them. But I did notice one of the baristas who was making my coffee. She said to me that she loved investing in Apple, all these stocks, like she mentioned Apple, Nvidia, all these kind of stocks, and she was making money from them, and she was telling me how easy it was to make money. And
Oh,
when she was saying, and I said to her, "Do you have actual experience in investing before?" She said, "No," but she was making money. And I said, "Okay, whoa, this is a huge
mm.
alarm bells." When your local barista is saying how easy it is to make money in the stock market and they're just pouring money in, there's something really wrong with that picture. In the sense that when people who have no experience with trading, investing, and all that kind of stuff, when they're suddenly saying how easy it is, you know, that's alarm bells usually that we're potentially reaching extremes of euphoria and maybe turning points in the market. Now, we might not even get a turning point. We might not get a top in the market until next year in 2026. But again, it does show high levels of risk in the market. What are your thoughts on that, Charlie?
100%.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think trading and that example, I know it's
Mhm.
only one example, but there'll be millions of examples just like that. Just
Mhm.
like there was coming into 2000, everyone thought they were a day trader, especially in America. People were quitting their jobs because they were making more money than they
Yeah.
could make in their jobs. We had the same thing in Bitcoin in 2017.
Yes.
People were
Yes.
quitting their jobs in 2017 just as
Yes.
Bitcoin was topping out.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
And so we see it time and time again. And I see it in there's this whole prop trading world as well. I think that's a bubble essentially as well, because people are just thinking that it's easy to make money, like in that your example there, whether
Yeah.
they're buying stocks or whatever, when a large majority of people who shouldn't be
Hmm.
maybe doing that because they don't have the time or the experience, you know that you're in this sort of final phase of a bull market, and the psychological phases are such that you see all this euphoria as everyone's getting in, short-term trading, people just trading online as it is nowadays. And then what will happen is there'll be a setback, and then those people who have got in thinking it's easy money, thinking that they can make more money than they can make in their jobs or whatever, then when a larger correction comes in, then everything changes. In fact, I was interviewed on Bloomberg just a week ago, and the interviewer was saying to me, "Do you think that that investors now have finally learned always that they need to be buying the dips?" And I thought, well, there's another sign.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. So,
fascinating times. I think this next
wow.
12 months is going to be absolutely fascinating.
So that was the question they asked you.
Yeah, the assumption was
Wow.
investors have now learnt, haven't they? They're now way better educated to just buy the dips. So the assumption is
Yeah.
that you just always have to buy the dip. And don't get me wrong, within a bull market, that is, essentially the case. But when everyone believes that, you're getting closer to one of these dips is not going to be a dip, and everyone will be buying the dip, and then that will create, because what always happens, there's always a big flush in any bull market, whether it was Bitcoin in 2017 or the stock markets at various times in coming into 2022. Then when the correction comes, you have to have a flush out. That's just the natural way of the markets. And I think we're in this euphoria stage right now. You can't
Yeah.
time it specifically to the day, but I said this earlier on, my spidey senses are going off. So I think we're, within the next well, certainly within the next year, whether it's the next 6 months, 3 months, or whatever. I think we're very close from a sentiment perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. By the way, I also remember this in the year 2021 when Bitcoin for the first time reached 50,000 or 60,000 in the spring of that year. So what happened was, I remember I went to a coffee shop. I can't believe I'm saying this again. But this is a true story. I went to a coffee shop in central London, and I kid you not, this is absolutely 100% true. The barista, nice guy who was serving me coffee, he said he was planning, he was having a baby. His wife was pregnant. They're about to have a child. He said to me, he was going to name his baby, his son, Crypto. I was like, are you serious? What? But and he was, and I understand it because he was obviously making money in crypto. There was Bitcoin had just reached 50 to 60K for the first time, and he loved it so much. The sentiment was so over bullish on it, and he said he's going to name his child Crypto. And by the way, that wasn't just near a top as well. Bitcoin, actually, as a matter of fact, in 2021, made a high at 60K, dropped to 30K. Okay,
Maybe his son, when he's older, can act in some sci-fi movie. Crypto, it'll be
yeah.
like Buck Rogers.
But I mean, that's really that's like, why would you torture a kid by naming them something like that? Okay, Charlie. So this is actually an interesting subject matter. People have actually asked me to mention this particular cycle before. This was called a Benner cycle, which seems to indicate tops and bottoms in the stock market. For people who are not aware, I actually made a video about this some years ago. What happened was Samuel Benner, who basically was very much interested in cycles in the markets. What happened was, by the way, he lost a lot of his property. I think he owned farms and land. So he lost a lot of his wealth in the late 1800s, in the late 19th century. So he got really interested in cycles or timing cycles. And this is essentially what he devised this. He devised this back in the year 1875. You can see the signature, his own signatures on this particular chart, 1875. A lot of his projections have turned out to be correct. For example, the dot-com bubble and crash, the tops in the dot-com, the year 1999, even the year 2007, if I'm not mistaken. I can see it right
Yeah,
there.
it's a
Yeah.
mid, it's a mid
Yeah.
one.
But let me say, I do not think it's a good idea to use timing cycles on its own. You really have to combine them with price action as well. And I think this is something a lot of people get wrong. So again, I'll talk about this separately about Bitcoin, but it's very dangerous and wrong to just look at timing cycles like this one, a Benner cycle, and ignore what's happening on the price action on the chart. You need to combine this with other forms of technical analysis. These should not be used as signals to buy or sell at all. Same goes with any other timing cycles too. Right now, as I'm making this video, there are people at the moment saying, "Oh, we're in a time cycle, a bear market in Bitcoin." I'm going to go into that in a separate video, okay? And I'm going to explain to you why I do not agree with those people. So be careful. Do not use time cycles on their own. Combine it with other method technical analysis, like, again, price charts. Taking a look at this Benner cycle, we're seeing a potential top for the stock market, a potential top for the stock market, as shown by this Samuel Benner cycle for 2026. Charlie, so let's bring you in. What do you think about this cycle, this Benner cycle? Does it accord with your own perspective about the stock market?
It does right now, actually. I mean, and it is interesting. I think, like you said, you can't use it as a timing tool, like that example of 1927. If you use it as a timing
Yeah,
tool
yeah,
and you'd have sold out in 1927, you've missed 2 years of massive
yeah,
upside.
that's right.
But again, like any market cycles tools, like you said, you use them in conjunction with other analysis. And so for me, going into 2026, I do think that we are at the euphoria stage within the stock markets anyway. And so I think that this could well ring true. It's never going to be
Mm,
exact. You have to give or take 6 months or so,
mhm,
but it actually sits quite well with my analysis that I think that we're in the final sort of stages of the upside in the stock markets. Valuations are very high right now. All the ingredients are there, the euphoria in the markets as well. I think we're in a bubble in trading. generally, I think
Mm.
trading is in a bubble. Much like in 1999 going into 2000, everyone wanted to become a day trader. And it's a bit like that at the moment. When everyone's getting into trading, you think, hmm. So
Yeah,
I think even trading is in a bubble right now as well, because everyone wants to make money online and all that. Nothing wrong with that, because some people
yeah,
will do. But I think there's bubbles galore at the
yeah.
moment going into 2026.
I'm going to just mention a couple of things before we finish this video. Firstly, if you're looking to become a member, a premium member, go ahead on this particular offer we have there to become a member. Again, this offer lasts only until the end of Christmas and New Year. But more importantly, also, guys, join me and Charlie in January. Again, the special offer that we have, the special discount that Charlie and I have for the course we're doing together in January is only going to be there for a limited time. So if you haven't yet signed up for it, go and do so. The link is right there, protradingworkshop.com. I want to thank all of you who have already signed up. Very kind of you. I much appreciate it. Just the last few words for people who want to know what's involved in this course. Charlie, if you want to briefly just summarize, just in a minute or two, what people can learn on this program. Let me just say, guys, that I'll be on this course as well. I'll be covering some key points in technical analysis.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about the approach that I use. One of the key main approaches that I use. I use multiple time frames and I use certain patterns in
Yeah,
conjunction with sentiment as well that anyone can use, whether you're a shorter term trader or someone who's more positional as well. And these are the techniques that I use overall in my trading. So that's the element that I'm going to be teaching. But I think even more important than that, traders all around the world generally seem to have two issues. Either they have been trading for a few years, but they just can't get the pieces to come together. Or they're relatively new and they're only just starting and they just need some guidance on some
yeah,
methods in order to approach the markets. And really, this is for either camp of trader there. So you've got your people who are relatively new, but also people who maybe just been trying trading for on and on, and they've been doing it for a few years, but they're just not quite getting everything coming
yeah,
together. And I think that what you and I are going to be teaching is going to help all of
yeah.
those types of traders.
And guys, in case you didn't know, Charlie Burton himself has had, I think, is it correct, Charlie? Nearly 28 years of experience as a trader, professional trader. So again, you'll be getting benefit of his experience. So I highly suggest, guys, if you're a beginner trader or if you're already an experienced trader, you want to just improve your skills, this is definitely something you want to sign up for. The link is right there. I'll put it for you in the description as well. protradingworkshop.com. Check it out, full details with a discount as well. Thank you very much, Charlie. Much appreciated.